So this is our last section of review before we start moving into material that is part of what is 1314. So this is still a review section, and this is going to move seamlessly right into what is going to be our linear equations. We're going to have more of these review sections in here that are part of the, was it 0214? But like I said, this is the last one for just a little while here. So we're going to talk about just basics of some graphs. So a lot of this is probably going to be a review for most of you. Just want to go through this terminology and basics of graphing. So points in ordered pairs. To graph or plot points, we use two perpendicular lines that we call our axes, and that is representing our what we call our number plane. So we'll have one like this. And this kind of just represents our world of real numbers. These are what we call the axes. The point at which the axes cross, so that this point right here, that is going to be called the origin. We also represent it as saying it's 0, 0. If you're not sure what that means, we'll explain that here in a bit. So what we call these as that, this one here, this vertical axis, we call it the vertical axis. This is what we call the y-axis. This horizontal axis, we call the x-axis. And when we were considering like trying to show a number 2, 3, the numbers in such a pair are going to be called coordinates. So this is two different coordinates. This is your first coordinate. And this is your second coordinate. So the first coordinate is associated with x values, so associated with that x-axis. Your second coordinate is associated with that y-axis. So what we're seeing here is that as far as coordinates go, this one is representing a 2 in the x-coordinate, and this is representing a 3 on the y-coordinate. And how these lines, how these axes work is that they cross here, both at their 0 point. So these are really just two number lines. So this is going from 0, 1, 2, 3, and then this side 0, -1, -2, -3. The same thing with the vertical axis is we're going up, we're going positive, and as we're going down, we're going negative. So really what your axes are is just two number lines. So what this is telling me is that this point has x is at 2, y is at 3, and it should be here. So kind of just sort of one way you can think about plotting points. So to plot the point 2, 3, what we're saying is we start at the origin, and we know that because we got this 2 here, I move over 2. Let me use red for this. So I move horizontally 2, and then I move vertically by 3 because of that y coordinate. And when we do it, we make a dot, and a lot of times we put our ordered pair next to the dot. Just take a moment and just label these ordered pairs on here. The 0 ones are usually the ones I see usually there's the most trip up on. Just be careful remembering that you're looking at this as their x, y pairs. The first one is telling you where you are in x, and the second one tells you where you are in y. Just take a moment and come back to this. So for A is x is -4, y is 3. So we look at the x's. And on the x's, this is where -4 is. And this is where 3 is. So we just kind of, you can look at it as moving, but really what we're doing is we're just figuring out where those two lines are intersecting, and it's right here. and that would be -4, 3. Or sometimes I might just label it as A. I'm going to get rid of my little lines here. Or otherwise, this is going to turn into a mess quick. So for B, my x is a -2, my y is -3. Where do those two intersect? Right here at this point. And this would be the point of -2, -3. So that is my B. Now the next ones, like I said, they can be a little more confusing. Usually once you see it, it's good, it's ingrained in your head. But we have 2, 0. So x is 2, but y is 0. So this is where x is 2. And remember, this is y here is this vertical line. And y is 0 right here in this spot. So what we do is we just mark the point just here, because all that is telling me is I know where x is, and there's not really a value for y. It's just sitting on the x-axis. So when your y is 0, we sit on the x-axis. Now in the other case, x is 0. So if you look at your x's, this is where x is 0. And if we look at y is here, -3. So this is where 0, -3 is. So when your x is 0, we sit on the y-axis. That's something to remember because we use that later for something called intercepts. So we know if my y is 0, then my point has to sit on the x-axis. If my x is 0, then my point sits on the y-axis. And then just one other thing to point out here, just as far as terminology, this is not terminology you probably use a lot, but it does pop up quite a bit in other courses. So the horizontal and vertical axes divide your plane into 4 regions that we call quadrants. So there's special things about these quadrants if you end up taking other classes. Just kind of quickly, this is your first quadrant. So the quadrants are going in this direction. So, all right. And this goes along and matches like how we do this. And when you're talking about a rotation, like an angle, they rotate counterclockwise. So this is going counterclockwise. I've had people learn it the other way around, but technically it's counterclockwise. So it should be. First coordinate is here. So we start like this is the beginning. And everything through here, my first coordinate, or my first quadrant. So everything in the first quadrant, x and y's are positive. When we move into the second quadrant is now where we start getting negative x values. Then we keep going. Like I said, we're going counterclockwise. We get into the third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, x and y are negative. And then when we move into the fourth quadrant, x's are positive again. But now your y's are negative. Okay, like I said, just want to briefly kind of go through that. And largely because I've had a lot of students in the last few years. I don't know where they learned this, but they learn their quadrants the wrong way. They go backwards. So they'd say like this is first, second, third, fourth, but it should be this is first, second, third, fourth.